So there's actually a bit of a backstory to this target here. Normally ever since we've arrived in Kingdom 181, this guy has been sitting in a public guild, and you know, if someone's in a public guild, it's really easy to get their troop composition and formation. You just send someone in the guild to reinforce them, and then you one troop them, and that obviously gives you their report. So 3 times now we've entered into this public guild, seen that he's offline, got his report, got his updated formation and started to rally. But as soon as we do, this guy always logs on. So we can obviously see that because he's in a guild, we see that he comes online, and he's done this 3 times now. And this is the 4th time that I'm trying him. And he's actually in a private guild now. So he's no longer in his public guild, he's in a private guild. So we can't see if he's offline. So that would probably mean it's more risky to rally him, but we're going to try it anyway. What I'm doing here is I'm sending leaderless T2 marches, or only about 10k T2 each, to calculate, and I'm going to calculate the might drops from each hit to figure out what formation this guy's in so we can try and hit him. Firstly, I sent a siege march to break the wall, obviously because the wall needs to be broken for the T2 marches to be effective. Then I'm going to send int first, then range, then cav. The troop type that dropped him the most was range, which means he's in a cavalry formation, and that's consistent with what we've been seeing every time we reinforce and one troop him, because he's always in a cavalry phalanx then. When I was testing the formation and getting ready to rally him, I wasn't very hopeful about this, because obviously if you've tried to rally someone 3 times before and they've come online each time, then the likelihood of you catching them offline on the 4th go at the exact same time of day when they already know that you want to zero them is quite unlikely, but we decided to give it a go anyway. The first rally was by double mints and it was leaderless range. Of course, going to go leaderless because there's a high chance that this guy could be online. The recording of the leaderless rally didn't save, so now jumping straight into the first real range rally. The leaderless rally did drop him around 1.1 million troops, so he didn't change formation, he didn't change gear. This is starting to look a bit better now, so we're going full range with leader. I did offer to go first. Jeff wanted to hit first anyway, so we let him do that. His range stats better than mine anyway, so there's more of a chance of clearing the majority of the cavalry with a rally from mints. The range rally did get capped, which is to be expected when you're hitting this kind of comp. It did kill around 2.2 million troops, and given what we saw from the report I showed you earlier of his initial troop comp, there's not going to be much cavalry left, so I'm going to go inf now. Our allies from FRG have arrived at this point, and the rally leader is asking me what to send. I tell him inf, so he's going to probably end up hitting right after me. Spoiler alert here, this guy does end up getting zeroed. You probably guessed that anyway, but it does kind of confuse me how we can rally him 3 times before while he's in a public guild of all places and consistently log on even after he's been shown to be offline for like 3 to 6 hours. He always logs on when we rally him, but now suddenly because he's in a private guild he doesn't log on. That's a bit confusing. Maybe he's complacent in a public guild, or maybe there's something else going on, I don't really know. This guild does like to use bots a lot. The Chinese guilds in this kingdom love bots, so maybe there's a bot being activated here to make him look like he's online in a public guild. I have no clue, guys. So unfortunately I do smoke him. That's because there was just a bit of cavalry left, 124k ancient Drake riders, and as you know, I've explained how cavalry formations work before. If you hit someone in cavalry phalanx and they have just a bit of cavalry left, then your inf or whatever troop type you send will first take out their cavalry and then it will hit their inf. So that's why I did smoke him on that rally. If I'd hit into his range, it would have been a burn, but now the cavalry is clear and the hit from our Russian allies is going to burn him next. The troop type to send that would have done the most damage on the rally before would actually have been cavalry, because obviously the cavalry would have taken out his remaining cavalry, then would have hit into his infantry and then taken the rest of that out. But you know, this guy still had anti-up. We didn't know how much cav was left because he wasn't in a public guild anymore, so just had to kind of wing it and assume that Mince took out the majority of his cavalry. And anyway, sending cavalry against that guy again would probably have been capped, so more losses anyway, because he still has range. So when someone has 2 troop types left, it's quite easy to burn them, but sending cavalry when he still has range would have been painful for us. So FRG did burn him first. My second rally is walking now, and of course I am going to burn him again. He only had around 5 million troops left after that, and now there's only 2.6 million left. That's around solo level, so we can start soloing him now. This guy has 2 troop types left, so soloing him is going to be a bit more painful than soloing if he only had 1 troop type left. But yeah, I do burn him on that hit, and then I quickly go to solo a second time, but then people start smoking him. And I surprisingly end up smoking him on the second solo as well. That's because with cavalry phalanx, every time you hit into his range, you kill half the range, then hit the infantry, so you can never truly get rid of all his range. So eventually, after a bunch of inf hits, there will only be inf with a tiny amount of range left. So most of these solos were, at the end, basically inf versus inf. So that would require me to have sent cavalry. I did send cavalry on the third hit, and luckily I do come out of that with his leader. So about a, I believe, 13 to 14 million troop zero. That's not bad. That's our first decent zero of our little guild. We are still only about 20 billion might. And now I'm going to go on to the next target. This was a bit of a unique situation. So this guy is actually, the guy rallying now is a griffon trap. So he's griffon trapped 2 of our allies, and I mean the griffon trap with resources, the one that you solo to get the resources and then they pull their troops back, random port, and kill everything. So 2 of our allies had lost their leaders hitting this guy, but this guy isn't a regular griffon trap. He actually has full mythic gear that I'll show you in a few seconds. But yeah, this griffon trap has full mythic gear with around 2.7 million T4, which is the maximum amount that he can hide. That means that hitting this guy is like hitting this guy with a rally is like rallying a full fort, except the rally you're sending isn't full. This guy has insane mixed stats, so if he counters you, he's gonna win. That's what he did on the first hit. We sent cavalry. He saw from our march speed that we were sending cavalry, and he got his guild to reinforce him with T4 range. He took that hit like it was nothing. 300k wounded. That was an amazing defense from him. On the second rally now, we're going to go range with 1 inf. The reason behind that is the last rally he saw what we were sending because of our march speed. So if we send range with 1 inf, that kind of like masks the troop type we're sending, so he can't really guess what it is. The first report, well, the first rally didn't record, unfortunately. That's why we're on to the second rally now. Of course, everyone knows that blasts are so much stronger than mixed marches in forts. So if you send a blast and you get the counter, you'll pretty much always win and do a ton of damage. So we kind of trick this guy into thinking we're sending inf, and he changes his formation to cavalry. That's the worst thing you can do. As you can see, he burned right there, and it's a pretty nasty hit. That guy is all T4, so that's around 800,000 red dead T4 there, because he incorrectly assumed the troop type we were sending based on our masking. And rallying this last target here, as I'm going to quickly show you what to do if you think the target you're rallying might be a trap. So I'm rallying this guy. He's quite low might. He's 400 mil. He's only got 10 mil kills, so that looks like a pretty juicy target, right? We know he's an infantry phalanx because one of my guildmates hit his camp, and I'm going to go ahead and start a leaderless cavalry rally. Now I'm going to do a completely separate kind of like video on leaderless rallies, because they're amazing for so many different reasons. But yeah, I'm going to go with leaderless cavalry on the first hit. This guy got reinforcements pretty much immediately after I set the rally, which is rather dodgy. That's never a positive sign. But yeah, before the rally marches, I'm going to get my guildmates to spam him so we can't see that the rally is leaderless, because if he sees it's leaderless, he might not change his gear. But if he has to kind of guess whether it's leaderless or not, you know, assuming a rally is leaderless and then not changing your gear and formation is a huge risk, because if it turns out to be a real rally and you haven't changed, that's a lot of losses right there. If I was a much stronger player, that would be maybe 3 million reds right there for him. So I'm sitting on the cancel screen right there. He does change gear immediately, so I can cancel that rally with a lot of time to spare. So that's good. I was checking his gear on another phone, so had my finger on the cancel button on my iPad, and then I was refreshing his profile on my other phone, and I could see you change gear pretty much straight away. So got a nice clean cancel there. Hope you guys enjoyed these videos, showing you a lot more content from our new guild. Of course, we are still recruiting, so if you are interested, please do hit me up in game. My line ID is LSDRyan123. Thank you guys for watching, and see you all in the next video.